Hello friends, this is Tisha from Meadows and Mortar by Tisha, and today I'm going to jazz up these mid-2000s lamps. So the first thing that I do after I clean it is I give it a coat of Paint Couture's Shore Prep Bonding Primer. So you could see that was a nice slick surface, so I need to put a gripping primer on there, something that the paint will be able to adhere to so it doesn't just scratch off if somebody accidentally bumps into it or something. I am going to be using a super cute decoupage paper from the Shabby Hummingbird. You can find her on Etsy, and this one is called Amazing Grace Hem. Now this has the whole Amazing Grace sheet music on it, and I'm going to take this and I'm just going to cut it in half so that it can fit my lamps better. So I'm just going to cut it straight in the middle section, and then I'll use the top portion for one lamp and then the bottom portion for another lamp. And this doesn't have to be precise because this paper was actually longer than what I needed, so I'm going to have some overhang, but I just cut it on the crease that was straight down the middle. Speaking of creases, this is a tissue paper, but this is an excellent quality tissue paper. So you see the creases from the package. I'm just taking a mister bottle full of water and I just mist the whole back of it. I want to make sure that I am going to release those fibers, and it's going to help everything relax and kind of swell up. It's also going to help get those wrinkles out. I don't even use an iron to iron my clothes, so you won't catch me using the iron method unless somebody has specifically asked me for it. So I just take that water, relax all those fibers, and then I'm coming in with Paint Couture's Extreme Guard, and I'm going to use this as my adhesion. You can use Mod Podge if you like. I'm not a fan of Mod Podge, but you can use that. You can use any sort of adhesive that you would like. But I have found very, very good results with this Paint Couture's Extreme Guard. It goes on really smooth, it self-levels really nicely, it dries crystal clear, and I just really, really enjoy using it. You can see that I am moving this decoupage paper up, down. Once that it's situated, I'm pulling it up even more. You can see I am using a gentle hand. I'm not just like ripping or anything, but I can reposition this paper. This is a good, nice quality tissue paper that you can use for your decoupage projects. And I specifically wanted to show you what it was like on these lamps because I wanted a nice curved surface, because it's easy to put decoupage on something that's flat, but if you have a curved surface, it's just a little bit trickier. I'm right-handed and I had a ring on my right middle finger that I usually keep on. You saw me take it off just now because it was getting caught on the paper. I use the pads of my fingers to smush my paper down. I just use very light, gentle pressure, but I feel like I can get more of the bubbles and the wrinkles out whenever I use my fingers. But there are actual decoupage tools that you can use. There's like a little plastic tool and it has felt on one end of it, and you can use that to smooth things down. You can find those on Amazon or about any craft store. You can find those. But I just like to use my fingers. It's worked well for me. As long as I have that paper moistened, then I find that I can get everything as pliable as I need it to be with just my hands. And I decided not to speed this part up because I want to show you how long or how quickly you can decoupage this lamp. So I didn't want to speed it up. I want to show you in real time of what exactly it takes to go into this. So I have the front part of it lined up and on there. The back of it, remember I didn't put that Extreme Guard on the back of it yet because it was laying down there on that little paint carpet that I use. So now I'm coming in on the back flaps, and I'm just wanting to make sure that I have a good even coat all across the back of it where that white is. And I had a little hair or something in there, so I picked that out. Now, then once that I get this on there, a good layer, I'm going to pull another one of those flaps down and I'm going to get it on there, and then I'll take some more of my medium, put over top of that flat so that I can adhere the other paper to it, if that makes sense. Now you can see I'm repositioning this. I'm moving it quite a few times, but I'm using light, gentle pressure. Now, if you were to put this on there and leave it on there for like 60 seconds and then try to pull it back, you're going to be screwed. It's not going to work. It's just going to tear off of there. But you can see as I'm putting it down there and it's just slightly wet, and I have the back of the paper wet too, so that also is helping me with this. Then I can pull it back up and reposition it as I need to get all of those wrinkles and bumps out of there. At this point, you could just snip off that excess, but I decided to overlap mine so that it would be even. And the back of it, I mean, nobody really looks at the back of lamps anyway, so it's going to be okay. I knew that I was going to be adding some more embellishments to the piece, so I didn't think that it was a big deal. So I come in, remember what I said, I had that flap down. Now I have to have something for that other paper to adhere to because I've already laid one piece of paper down. So my adhesive on the back of it, that extreme guard, has already adhered to something. It already has paper that has gotten on it. So I put some more of that extreme guard down so I can bring that right flap over and I can get it to adhere as well. Once that I have all of my extreme guard over the back of this and all of my paper is laid down nicely, then I come in with that same extreme guard and I'm going to put it all over the top of the paper. So you're going to have the adhesive at the bottom, your paper, and then the adhesive at the top. This is going to sandwich this in there, and this is going to really make it meld into your piece. It's going to make it a part of the piece. So you don't have to worry about this coming off. It's not going to chip off, fall off, pull off. I mean, you would have to get out your sandpaper to be able to get this sucker off of there. So you just put a nice even coat all over it. Then we're going to let it dry overnight. And after it dries overnight, then you just come in with a straight edge razor and then you're just going to trim off the excess. So I have a little bit of excess at the top and then I have a little bit of excess at the bottom. I just use that straight razor and snip it off of there. Alternatively, you could use some sandpaper and just go all in one direction. So in this one, I would take that sandpaper and I would go in an up motion and I would just swoop that sandpaper over the lip of the top going in an up motion. I would not come back in a down motion, just the up motion, going away from the paper, and then that would also bring that paper off and give you a nice clean line. But this bottom section down here, just from the way that this lip is made, I would not have used the sandpaper. I would only use a straight razor for that. Now our paper is all nice and adhered, it's all trimmed up, and it's starting to take some shape. So now I'm coming in with Paint Couture's Vintage Moss, and I'm just painting all of the white areas that are left at the top and the bottom. So this isn't the exact color of the paper, but I felt like it was, you know, it's in the same shade as this paper is. So I'm just going to try to kind of blend it in together. So I'm going to make all of the top and the bottom pieces are going to be completely solid. And then you're going to see me here in just a second, and I'm going to put some of that vintage moss down on my paper too. So don't be scared and think that you only have to paint the pieces that don't have the paper on it. You can go straight over top of that paper, honey, and get it all blended in. So now I come in with a little bit of water in that misting bottle, that same one that I used before, and I'm just wanting to get this paper wet. Now you can see where I have this all sealed, you can see that water is just beating up on there and it's just rolling down, and that's what I want. I don't want this to just look like sopped up paint in this paper. I'm wanting it to get like a drippy, runny sort of effect so it looks like it's aged in a way. Now I just fiddle with it back and forth. I have the water on there, I'm spraying more water, I'm putting a little bit of paint, I'm letting it run. If I don't like it, I wipe it off. If I do like it, I let it go more. You just play with it to see what it is that you like. So when this is sealed up with that top coat, it's easy to just wipe that paint back off as long as you don't let it dry. If you let it dry for like 5 minutes and then try to come back, it's not going to work. So now I come in with some rapid casting resin. And this one is from Alumilite, but Paint Couture also has a good casting resin as well. This is a 2-part resin, so you mix equal parts of A and B, you stir it up, you put it in your molds. These are from IOD. I think this one's called Trimmings 2 or 3, I can't remember. And you leave it in there for 5 minutes and you pull it out, and then we have this beautiful white casting. So I use Type Bond Quick and Thick, which is my glue, and I just put it all around the top of this, and then I take that trim and then I put it over the Type Bond Quick and Thick, and I use my hands to kind of press it and hold it in place for a second, and then once that it dries, then I can paint it. Now the Type Bond Quick and Thick is thick and it is quick, and everything sticks on there really well. It does not take long. I painted those trim pieces with that same vintage moss, and then I'm coming in with Paint Couture's Crackle. So I'm using step 1 first. I'll let it dry for 30 minutes, and then I come in and I add the step 2 of the Crackle. Now the step 1 is going to be tacky to touch whenever you add the step 2 on there. Once that the step 2 goes on there, then you just walk away, you let it dry, Come back the next morning and then you're gonna have your beautiful crackles on there. So you can see like the little shininess on there. You can sort of see where the crackles are, but I come in with Paint Couture's Black Chiffon Glaze, and I really put it over top of everything and let it settle inside of those cracks. And then I come in with just you can come in with a cloth or a paper towel, whatever you need to do, and wipe off the excess, and you're just gonna let that black settle down inside of where those cracks and grooves are to really show off that nice crackle aged look that we just got. So anywhere that I have that crackle, I'm going to put the glaze on there. So it's going to go all over this piece so that you can really see that aged effect. And I would just like to take a moment and ask you, if you're not following my YouTube page, if you would just give me a little follow on there. And if you haven't already liked this video, then I just ask that you like it. If you would like to purchase any of the Paint Couture products on here that I've used in the video, I will put a link in the description box for you to be able to get those. And if you have not tried the Shabby Hummingbird's decoupage papers, go find her on Etsy. I will also put a link in the description box to her Etsy shop. But guys, she is phenomenal. If you've never had any contact with her, I mean, she is great. She will help you with any questions that you have. She also does custom papers as well. You can just send her the photo that you want and she will make you your own custom papers. So I decided that I could not see those accents enough, so I am dry brushing some driftwood from Paint Couture paint on here on top of all of my high points. Now to dry brush, it's exactly like it sounds. You're going to take a paintbrush, you're going to put minimal amount of paint on there, and then you're going to wipe even more of the excess off on a paper towel, and then you're just going to come in and you're going to barely tap the top of the surface just so you can get a little bit of dimension in there. So you're going to see the high points are going to be highlighted with that driftwood, the low points are going to have that glaze in there, and everything else is going to have that green. So look how beautiful these turned out. And I just put the shades on it that were already on it that I purchased with it. I didn't do anything to those, and I think that this turned out so good. I can't wait to see this in somebody else's home. So you can do anything you want to with these lamps. I mean, your imagination is the limit on these. So you can use any sort of paper. Like I said, if you haven't checked out the Shabby Hummingbird, check her papers out. They are stinking awesome, and so is she. And guys, I can't wait to see you all next time. It's been fun. Bye.